Hey class, good morning. Today we're going to talk about how to find the volume of a pyramid. Now, the biggest question is, what is a pyramid? Well, you might think that is a pyramid, and you're right. This is a pyramid right here. It's not only a pyramid by name, this is the ancient pyramid of Giza, really cool place, but it's also a pyramid by shape. See, we have four sides on this pyramid, and then two sides you can't see, and then that's called the base. And then we have each side sloping up to a point, just like that. Because all four sides slope up to one point, they converge up at the top, that's what makes it a pyramid. Now, what's the difference between a pyramid and a rectangular prism? Let me draw a rectangular prism to kind of show the contrast. So a rectangular prism, let's say it had the same kind of base, right? You can see this has a square or rectangular base, and so does this one, sort of. um, those are the parts that you can't see. Okay, and but for rectangular prism, you have, let's say, actually this is a triangular prism. We're going to have 2 points here at the top if it's a triangular prism. Rectangular prism, I think it's pretty obvious that it's not a pyramid. But if we look at a rectangular prism, like this, then you can see that this is clearly has 2 points, where this just has 1 point. It all converges together at the point. That's called a rectangular pyramid, and this is a triangular prism. This is a prism because you can see it clearly has a base and a top that are the same shape, and it's connected by a height. Where this has a point on one side and a base on the other side. So it clearly only has one base. So that's how you can tell a pyramid from a prism. So let's look at this here. So we answered the question, what is a pyramid and how is it different than a prism? A pyramid only has one base, one side, that's the base. It doesn't have a top and a bottom. And then on the opposite side, it converges to 1 point. So only 1 point. Now, how do you find the volume of a pyramid? Because that's what we're asking today. 1 point, okay? So when you see these 1 point pyramids, we're going to look at two different kinds. One of them is going to have a rectangular base, and the other one's going to have a triangle base, okay? So let's talk about, for either kind of pyramid, whether it's a square, rectangle, or triangle, or even a polygon, like a 4-sided base, or a 6-sided base, or an octagon, an 8-sided base. No matter what the base is, as long as it's not a circle, as long as it's a polygon, this is how you're going to find it. First, you find the area of that base. So here for our Giza pyramid, we'd have to find the area of that base. Now, I don't know what the exact dimensions are, so I'm just going to make this up. But let's say this was a unit of, whoa, let me pick a different color. Let's say this was 12 yards, right? And let's say this side was 14 yards. And then the height from the bottom to the top was 10 yards. Okay? I know it's a lot bigger than that. I'm just making this up. So the first thing we would do is have to find the area of the base. How do we find area? Well, what kind of base is this? This is a rectangle. So we do 12 times 4. So the area of the base is just going to be length times width. Okay? I would write that down if I were you. So for this example, for this base, that's going to be 12 times 14. And please use calculators on this. Okay? Can't emphasize that enough. Please use calculators. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and use my handy dandy calculator. Oops, let me move my face out of the way. So 12 times 14. I didn't have my calculator pulled up. That's 168, okay? 168. So we have a base of 168. Now we've only found the area, and that's going to be yards squared. We only found the area of the bottom. To find the volume at the top, we have to do two more things. So the next thing is, whoops, let's go back here. Okay, the next thing is we have to find, we have to identify the height. How high is it from the base up to the point? And we're going to multiply by the height. And in the last step, if you're writing this down, is we're going to divide by 3. Okay. So for this example, we have a base that is 168. And we have a height. We have a height of 10. So the volume is going to be that base times the height, and all of that divided by 3. Okay, so that's 168, and we're going to multiply that by 10. 168 times 10, and then divided by 3. Well, I just happen to know 168 times 10 is 1,680. Let's go ahead and use our calculator again. Okay, and notice by adding this extra dimension of height, now we have 3 dimensions. So we have length, width, and height. And it's not like a prism. For prism, we would just multiply those 3 together. But for here, we multiply them and then divide by 3. So let's see what that is. So we have 168 times 10. And then divided by 3. And that gives us 560. So the volume of this pyramid is going to be 560. And I think I said it was yards. So it would be yards cubed with a little 3 up here, because we just dealt with 3 dimensions. Okay, this area up here in contrast would be yards squared. All right, so let's go ahead and look at that. This is what the equation looks like. Volume equals base, whatever the base is, times the height divided by 3. Okay, that's going to work whether it's a rectangular prism like this, rectangular pyramid, or a square pyramid, or even if it's a triangle. For a triangle, when you find the base, don't forget to divide by 2. You find the base and the height of that triangle and then divide by 2. Then you multiply it by the height of the pyramid up to the point. And then don't forget to divide it by 3. So I guess the big question is, why are we dividing by 3? Well, if you look back at this pyramid, what if I was to compare it with a rectangular prism, like a box, the same length, the same height? What if we were to wrap up, let's see that aliens came from outer space and they wanted to take the pyramid as a souvenir? Well, first of all, we wouldn't let them. But let's say they did, they took it and they were going to bring it back, so they want to FedEx it. So they want to put it in a box. Well, what size of a box is going to work? Well, if this length was 12 and that length was 14 and the height was 10, the box would have to at least have a height of 10, right? Just bare minimum. And the sides would have to have 12 and 14. So let's draw that box. And when I say box, I mean rectangular pyramid. Okay? Well, if you see inside of that box, there's a lot of extra room. In fact, there's enough room to draw 2 other pyramids. You could fit another pyramid here, and another pyramid. You'd have to break it up into pieces, but you could fit 2 more pyramids to fill up that box. So it's kind of like the formula for a rectangular prism or a triangular prism, and you're dividing by 3 because it only takes up 1/3 of the space. Okay, I hope that helps, and you guys have a great day. Bye.